Welcome to DealWire. This is Big Story, Episode 1. PhonePe's UPI Paradox, Growth, Diversification, and the IPO Push. Chapter 1. India's Payment King with a Profit Problem. Let's start with the simple truth. PhonePe has won India's payments market, but profits still refuse to show up. Today, the platform has more than 650 million users and processes over 360 million transactions every single day. That scale is insane, but when you look at the financials, a different picture emerges. Revenue jumped from rupees 5,064 crore in FY24 to 7,114 crore in FY25, which is a solid 40% jump. Losses shrank a bit too, from 1,996 crore to 1,727 crore. Helpful, but nowhere near enough to cross into the black. So you have a company that's getting bigger and faster every year, but still struggling with the one metric that really matters: profit. Chapter 2. The zero-MDR Reality. Here's the core of the problem. In India, when you pay a merchant through UPI, the app that processed that payment earns nothing. Merchant discount rate is 0. That means PhonePe handles 15 lakh crore of payments in a year and makes almost no money per transaction. But the costs don't disappear. Bank fees, infrastructure costs, tech maintenance, all of that still hits their books. So it's a strange paradox. The more UPI grows, the more PhonePe has to spend, while the revenue per transaction stays close to 0. Scale goes up, margins stay flat. Chapter 3. The Competition Landscape. Now let's look at who PhonePe's fighting against. PhonePe leads the UPI market with a 46% share. Google Pay sits close behind at 35%. Paytm has about 7%, and the remaining 10% is split between smaller players. So yes, India has multiple UPI apps, but the battlefield is basically two giants fighting for control: PhonePe and Google Pay, with everyone else just trying to stay relevant. Chapter 4. The 30% Cap, the sword hanging over PhonePe. This is where things get dangerous. NPCI has proposed a rule that no single UPI app can hold more than 30% market share. If this actually gets enforced, PhonePe's share would fall from 46% to 30% overnight. That's a massive shift. Roughly 4 lakh crore worth of transactions would get redistributed to others. Rivals would pick up the volume, and PhonePe's dominance would suddenly weaken. This isn't a small tweak. It's a direct hit to PhonePe's strongest moat, and the clock is ticking for them to prepare. Chapter 5. Beyond Payments, the Diversification Gamble. So how does PhonePe respond? They go big. Instead of depending only on UPI, PhonePe wants to become a full financial ecosystem. Think of it as India's future digital bank, without actually being a bank. They're building 4 major verticals. 1. Insurance. 2. Wealth and lending. 3. Shopping and ONDC. 4. Account aggregator services. This is their biggest bet ever. Payments brought scale, but these new verticals will bring margin. The big question is, can they pull it off before regulations catch up and competition tightens? Chapter 6. The Digital Lending Journey. Here's one way PhonePe wants to grow: digital lending. It starts with an instant eligibility check. If you qualify, the app gives you pre-approved offers right on the spot. From there, approvals take just a couple of minutes. No paperwork, no long forms. Everything is done digitally through a paperless KYC process. Once approved, the money goes straight to your bank account. The average ticket size is around 50,000 rupees. And when it's time to pay back, EMIs are automated, so you don't have to worry about reminders or due dates. In short, it's lending without the friction of traditional banks. Chapter 7. Protection for the Masses, PhonePe isn't stopping at credit. It's also pushing hard into digital insurance. Since 2021, over 9 million digital insurance policies have been sold. In 2023 alone, 4 million were added, and they've generated more than 75 million vehicle insurance quotes. A lot of this growth is coming from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, where digital access is rising and insurance has traditionally been underpenetrated. The pitch is simple: make insurance accessible, cheap, and a click away. Chapter 8: Powering Small Businesses. PhonePe's merchant ecosystem has quietly grown into a massive operation too. More than 3.5 crore merchants use the app, and not just for payments. PhonePe now helps them manage inventory, payroll, business analytics, and even apply for working capital loans. The QR code was just the starting point. Today, merchants can run full checkout systems and track revenue growth straight from their phones. This is PhonePe, trying to become the operating system of India's small businesses. Chapter 9: The Revenue Mix Shift, Preparing for the IPO. Now let's talk about the upcoming IPO. In FY24, PhonePe earned 94% of its revenue from payments and allied services. Only 4% came from financial services. But in FY25, financial services jumped to 11%. That shift matters. Investors want proof that PhonePe can monetize more than just UPI. And this early movement is exactly what the company needs to show before going public. Chapter 10: The Fintech Battlefield. The competition isn't sleeping. Google Pay has started offering credit products. Paytm is already deep in banking and lending. Amazon is pushing harder into financial services. Everyone has realized the same truth: payments alone can't sustain a large fintech company. The real money is in credit, lending, and full-stack financial ecosystems. PhonePe is right in the center of that fight. Chapter 11: A Global Shift. What PhonePe is doing isn't unique to India. You can see the pattern everywhere. Brazil has Pix. China has Alipay. African markets are expanding digital payments rapidly. In every one of these ecosystems, the story is the same. Payments help you scale. Lending and financial services help you survive. PhonePe's strategy might end up becoming the blueprint for fintech across emerging markets. Chapter 12: The Final Equation: Scale versus Sustainability. This is where everything comes together. PhonePe has become a 12,500 crore giant with a strong ecosystem and profitable verticals. But if they can't crack profitability, or if competition plus regulations squeeze them too hard, they may have to reset their ambitions. Scale alone isn't enough anymore. PhonePe is standing at a crossroads. The next few years will decide whether it becomes one of India's most successful fintech stories, or an example of how hard it is to turn free payments into a real business.